Lei sostiene che gli insegnanti e i genitori devono usare tutti i tipi di comunicazione e in modo speciale le nuove forme di comunicazione digitale che piacciono tanto ai bambini. In che modo si può utilizzare le nuove tecnologie per promuovere e per far sì che i bambini siano stimolati a leggere?
Sì. This is a very big question, and we're on the edge of a huge change, and I think everybody's trying to keep up, except for the kids, the children just accept it. But I think the danger is that the adults will feel, oh dear, these things, they shouldn't be doing these things. They shouldn't be doing all this mobile phone language. And all this emailing and this twittering and this blogging. That's a big mistake. Remember that Socrates thought writing was a bad thing. Well, he's wise about many things, but he got that one wrong. And the same thing is tending to happen now, that here is a big change in the way we communicate. And the older people are frightened of it. Not all, of course, but many of them are frightened of it. They don't know what to do with it. And the children are using it. But they're not always using it wisely. So I think there are all sorts of opportunities which parents, particularly with small children before they go to school, and then with them up to the age of 10 or 11, can do that would be useful. For instance, if you look at the e-book reader now, which is developing very fast. That's a wonderful form for all sorts of reasons, but one particular reason is that traditionally boys, by the time they get to 10, 11, 12, the convention is that they stop reading fiction, a lot of them, whereas the girls go on. There are all sorts of reasons why that happens. But the e-book appeals to boys because it's, of course, a little machine. And they like little machines. And this little machine, already you can begin to do things with, but it is a little book. It's not like your computer. And you can easily download onto it Word documents you've written yourself and put it onto that, which is like publishing your own stuff. And you can give it to your friends in that way. And suddenly here it is in this very particular interesting form with this little window. But also in my ebook reader there is a chip for sound and there's a chip for pictures. Well, boys love making things. That's why often they don't read. They think that reading is a passive activity, that they are not making something. They're quite wrong, but that's how they feel about it, traditionally. Whereas if they are manipulating this stuff, it's their story, their poem, whatever it is they want to write, and they can make it both sound and pictorial, that's hugely appealing. So there's one of the new instruments that actually encourages them to read, not by saying, you must read, but coming at it obliquely. In other words, the best way to teach boys is not to tell them what you really want to do, but to tell them you're going to do something else that they're interested in, but where the act that you want them to take part in is part of what you're telling them to do. So in the making of this stuff, they're doing a lot of reading and they're sharing it. Think of the mobile phone, for instance. In 2007, in Japan, the 5 best-selling novels that year, 3 of them were written on mobile phones. That is, they were written in little segments, in our language, of about 100 words each time, and then sent to some postbox, whatever they call it, which everybody could get access to and download it onto their own mobile phone. So first of all, these novels were written in little passages, and they were mostly teenagers who were reading them and even writing them, and then you read it on your mobile phone. Now, some of these became so popular that the conventional book publishers published them as books. And the top 3 sellers that year were done like that. They were books published after they had been made in mobile phones, and the biggest seller of all was one of those, and it sold 2 million copies to the very same people who had read it on the mobile phone. So the new became the old. It didn't get rid of the old. So they still liked it in book form. Now, there's all sorts of possibilities in that. And this is just the beginning of it. So I think, if, in summary, it is that the adults should be asking the kids to show them what they can do with those instruments as a means of encouraging them to read the kind of things that we think they should read. And this is unexplored territory. Teachers haven't caught up with this yet. But they're going to have to, and they're going to have to do it very fast. Otherwise, the kids will leave them behind. And they'll do whatever they like, and it won't be educationally always the best thing they could do. So there's a lot of work to be done on that. I think it's very exciting. If I was a young man, I would be very pleased with it. And if I was a young teacher again, I would be working at that stuff a lot. So, I think there's lots of opportunities.
Well,